All right, Ryan Dawes, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate the contribution. What game intrigues you guys the most during this open week? Kevin.
Well, do I take the easiest answer, or do I sit there and leave it for somebody else? I'm most interested in Michigan Penn State, because that has the biggest impact on what it is that I do for a living in terms of being able to write about two teams that are still on Ohio State's schedule. What will Blake Corum be able to do against the Penn State defense? What will Nick Singleton be able to do against the Michigan defense? Who's going to be able to shine brighter between Sean Clifford and JJ McCarthy? Neither of these teams have played anybody. I was watching a video review from the College Football Nerds on YouTube, and they had a lot of issues trying to really decipher the game due to who these two teams have played. So, I mean, I'm really interested. It's right off the bat. I will not be too beery by that point of the day. By the time that the TCU Oak State game comes on, I'll be beery. But I think that this is going to be the game that really kind of sets the tone for what Ohio State's second half of the season may look like, because those are the two big baddies left on the schedule. And, honestly, I think both the teams are going to sit there and show some more cracks that are there that, maybe we're not talking about with a 6-0 and a 5-0 team or whatnot. And I guarantee you that, the GAs and everybody else will have those cut-ups done pretty much immediately to have them in hand just as they get ready for each of those teams.
Purdue's not a good team?
No.
Okay. What do you got, Tony?
Well, like everybody, I'm interested in seeing the Minnesota-Illinois game on 12 p.m. on Big Ten Network. That is, crazily enough, a pretty huge game for the Big Ten West. That's a legit game. It's going to be, I don't know if I'm going to have it on one of my two TVs to start with, because the Kansas-Oklahoma game is also, but obviously the Penn State-Michigan thing, we're going to find out more about each team's flaws, as Kevin said. But I want to see if this is where Tennessee stakes their claim as a national title contender and a playoff contender. They are the darling right now, and can there's I don't know how much money is being put on them right now. It's 7 point. I think it's a 7-point line, and it's in Knoxville. This should be a game that Tennessee wins if they are as good as everybody thinks, and Alabama is as flawed and they have a banged up quarterback. This should honestly be where Tennessee does what Texas A&M did last year, beats Alabama and asserts themselves like, we are back, we are something, look at us play. And if they can't, then, now you've tumbled a bit. But this is a game that if Alabama loses, that's fine. It's no biggie. All they have to do is just run the table. It gets real dicey, though, if they lose this and then they lose in the SEC championship game to Georgia or Tennessee again at that point. So this is it's a big game, obviously for Alabama. And is this where Alabama kind of asserts its dominance and then starts, kicking butt? But I think 5 times last year they won by a touchdown or less. So this could be the third time they do it this season.
Yeah, this could be the changing of the guard game. But then again, you think about Tennessee, and if everything that was alleged about Pruitt is true, I mean, they better enjoy it now, because they're going to be going on probation potentially. So, you enjoy your ill-gotten gains, I guess. But I don't know. Hooker, the quarterback, is right there neck and neck, I think, with Stroud right now. I think those two have kind of separated themselves. There might be one or two other guys who are in the same discussion, but I think those two seem to be the top two in college football right now. So I'm interested to see how he does against what's supposed to be a good Alabama defense. Although we were listening to that game, we drove from Michigan State back to Toledo to stay overnight Saturday night, and we were listening to that game most of the way back. And it was astounding to me how Texas A&M was always in the red zone against Alabama, and like Alabama would pin them back, and Texas A&M would hit 2 or 3 plays, and next thing you know, they're knocking on the door again. And I think Jimbo got a little impatient early in the fourth quarter and went for it on a 4th down and didn't get it. Had he kicked the field goal then also kicked the field goal in the interim, he would have had a field goal at the end to win. And instead he needed the touchdown, which on what was it, first or whatever it was in goal at the 1 or the 2 on the very, 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 very last play, I just said to Pat in our car, is like, you got to spread the field and you got to run the ball here. And, that's a better play in that situation than a quarterback draw, I think, than trying to fit a pass in there. And, ultimately they couldn't do it. So, Alabama by all rights got outplayed 6 ways from Tuesday last week and still won the game. They are like on fumes right now. And does Tennessee just put them out of their misery this Saturday? A real changing of the guard type game. There's 6 games with ranked teams playing one another. The Penn State-Michigan game's intriguing. I don't know what to think about that. I assume Michigan will win playing at home, but Penn State already has been on the road to win a tough game at Auburn. I mean, Auburn's not the best team in the world, but a difficult place to play, a loud place to play. Certainly, they went in there and took care of business. Michigan's kind of pulling out all the stops. Tony, what was it you said in commemorating their 1997 national championship team? In what way should they commemorate that?
Yeah, ironically, the ceremony will not be at the half. I believe it'll probably be at the end of the first quarter, like it was 20 for the back. They did this like 5 years ago as well. They honored the team. They did it at the end of the first quarter. So I'm assuming
that's what OSU did. Yeah, into the quarter with Tressel's team there a few weeks ago. Half. It should be done at the half. Get it? It should have been done for the Nebraska game too, and they should have had the Nebraska 1997 team there as well. Yes. That way, and they've done it all at the half. Take up the entire half and do it like that. As my old buddy Mark Ray, who I used to work with at Buckeye Sports Bulletin, used to say, he goes, "We are getting all excited about a football program that hasn't won a unanimous consensus national championship since the Eisenhower administration." So tells us everything. I know, Mark, you got a Michigan channel too. I know.
Yes, we do. And this is good fodder for it. So that's fine. So, yeah, they could have done it at the half. Of course, they played Nebraska at home a little later this season. They could have hoped that Scott Frost was going to keep his job that long so he could, take part in the end of game ceremony. They had it all staged. They kind of messed it up. All right. Yes, the Big Ten, let's see. We've got 63 games are played in conference. And, unless there's some monumental upset in the Big Ten championship game that none of us anticipate, there are basically 3 games that count. Maryland's improved. That's nice. Michigan State's down. There's 3 teams and there's 3 games that really count out of 63. So there you got it. Wolf 58. 3-hour flight next to a crying baby, or 3 hours of Big Ten West football. Come on, Wolf 58. It's adorable. It's cute what they're doing there in the Big Ten West.
I'll tell you what, you pick the Illinois game, and you can get your 3 hour of Big West football and a crying baby with Brett Bielema.
I have noise canceling headsets, and I mean, I'm either going to wear them over my ears with a crying baby over my eyes with Big Ten West football.
Yeah, Bert Beelzebub with his quadruple XL orange pullover. He is the great pumpkin in the month of October, and this is his month. He is kicking ass so far.
At least they run the ball a lot, so their games don't run as long. There's a positive.
Yeah, I'll go back on what Kevin said. Purdue's okay. As long as the quarterback's there, they've got a chance in a lot of games that they're in. I mean, are they going to beat the top teams in the East? No, I don't. Now on a fast track at Indianapolis, if he gets hot, it could be a 50-40 game or something like that. I mean, they scored a bunch of points last year against Ohio State, although Ohio State like doubled them up almost. I thought, what was it, like 59-30 or something? But yeah, it was crazy.
Purdue can do damage, but are either of you willing to put like $100 on them minus 13.5 at home to Nebraska this weekend? No.
That's the point. because I like the directions Nebraska's going in now under this new coach. Not that he's changed everything, but I think it was a wake up call after they played Oklahoma, who they had no chance to beat. now they're playing actually, decent football. But yeah, tough one. That's a tough line, I think.
They're also finally playing a decent football team. They played Indiana and Rutgers the last two.
Well, when we're talking about a team that runs in Purdue for 119 yards a game, is middle of the pack of passing efficiency. Okay, you're throwing for 300 yards, but they're not exactly efficient. So, I mean,
I think some of that's skewed because he missed. Didn't he miss like a game and a half, though? I mean,
he missed a game, and he's been battling a rib injury, and so they've really dialed it down the last couple of weeks in terms of letting him zing it down the field.
Yeah. I'm not buying. I'm not buying.
Well, it depends what you mean by good or decent opponent. Like, I'm not selling them. I mean, they beat them as a top 25. I think they're one of the 25 best teams in America.
They beat Minnesota without Ibrahim, so that has kind of a star by it, I think.
And Ottman Bell too. I mean, that was a very compromised Minnesota team that they beat.
That's like beating Ohio State without Smith-Njigba and Henderson, but Ohio State doesn't have Williams and Harrison and Igbuka to make up for it.
It's got some backup running backs.
They're screwed.
And yet Purdue has lost 2 games by a total of like 6 points. They lost at Syracuse.
The Penn State game, they gave that away. That was ridiculous.
And the refs
at Maryland is pretty good.
And the refs gave away the Syracuse game.
Penn State hadn't determined that, Nick Singleton's probably pretty good. We should play him at that point. I mean, so
there's no way to know.
There's a point and a counterpoint and a counterpoint to that counterpoint. I mean, we're solve it on the field, but for now, I just don't see it.